Yes, that's right. We are live here. Star Trek Lower Decks with Live Long and Podcast coming at you. I am your host, Jeff, not Logical Mater, joined with co-host Davan. We are ready to break down everything to do with Lower Decks here. And this episode, I thoroughly enjoyed. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as last week's episode, but this one was really good. And we had a lot of great Klingon, Vulcan, Pac-led humor for days, and I think we really got some great jokes in here, and really had a fun with all the different species of kind of the OG species of Star Trek. Davan, what are your first takeaways here with this episode, which is entitled? What's it entitled? Gem or something like it's
in Klingon, isn't it?
wej Duj.
wej Duj. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah,
My Klingon dictionary.
Capital DUJ.
Okay.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot. I got pretty excited when I realized they were just going to start bouncing around the galaxy and looking at lower decks. Well, not too far in the galaxy, I suppose. They all seem to be in the same sector, we come to realize, I guess, here. But, I like the premise of the episode.
Yeah, the premise basically is, let's look at some Klingon lower decks, Vulcan lower decks. At the end credits, we get some Borg lower decks, which was pretty funny. We get the Pac-led lower decks, which is the entire ship, basically, which is a lot of fun. And then, of course, we get, the Cerritos. So which ones kind of stand out to you as some of the funnier jokes? I really enjoyed the Vulcan stuff tonight.
Yeah, me too. The Vulcan stuff was really funny. There were a couple of the Klingon things were funny too. Like they keep throwing in, unless I die a glorious death. It'd be great if I could be captain. Unless I can die a glorious death, which of course would be better.
Right. And it's like you want to go hang out with those Vulcans. Could you imagine being those Pataks?
Yeah. The logical choice. Why don't you shave your hair and get a bowl cut?
Join a science vessel.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But all the Vulcan stuff was fun. Well, you know what? Calm down, Jeff. You've lost control.
Yeah. You are not thinking straight.
Yeah, you're not thinking. Can't you see? You're losing control.
Yeah, it's like she's just doing more work and being creative and innovative, and that is not allowed.
Yeah, working on shield technologies and T'Lyn.
Is that the character's name?
That's the Vulcan.
That's the Vulcan girl's name, who I think I would imagine is going to join our crew at some point. I think they're going to make her some sort of a mainish character. So
I thought it was going to happen in the end credits.
Yeah, me too. But I think it'll happen in the next episode.
I hope so. I like that character. I'll be disappointed if they don't follow up with that. She's obviously going into Starfleet, but hopefully it's the Cerritos.
Yeah, so T'Lyn, played by Gabriel Ruiz. I actually thought that for throughout the episode, I thought it was Mariner's voice actor doing T'Lyn's voice, but it's not. I kept thinking because they're so similar in a lot of ways in their tropes and she was like the Vulcan Mariner in a lot of ways.
Oh, for sure. Just unhinged.
Not thinking straight, going too far.
No, yeah,
yes, and we did
flying off the hand.
And we did have the mother-daughter stuff tonight with Mariner and Freeman. So I thought a lot of that stuff kind of was almost mirroring each other with the Vulcan ship here, which again is like a science vessel. I really enjoyed the way they frame everything here too. They go to the Vulcan. Yeah, it exactly looks like that. The way they frame everything, it's really starting to remind me of Marvel. Are you getting a lot of Marvel vibes? The way Lower Decks, boom, and it shows you the Vulcan ship, tonight I just got a lot of what if,
for sure.
Yeah, a lot of what if vibes. Did you?
Yeah. What if also kind of the way they filmed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, where they did a lot of that, because you're on Vormir, or you're on all these different planets. The way, I could see that. It's high production values.
Yes,
really good.
I thought tonight was the most production value for an episode that I think we've seen. I thought last week's was quite a bit with all the different holodeck stuff, but this was the most they've done with ships and a ship battle. I don't think we've seen a ship battle on this show the way they did tonight. And I think I think that stuff's important.
I noticed the ship's looking really good in this episode too, and the Cerritos kind of must have been from the Klingon perspective comes into view, and it has all the multicolored lights around it, which I found interesting. It has like very multicolored lights around the saucer section.
Yes. Yeah, it does. It looked really good. Like I think that stuff's really important to drag you into a crew and all the tropes that they showed you tonight. Even though this is a comedy show, they kind of they're grounding it more in some dramatic effect here with some of the ship battles, which I think kind of gives it stakes and is kind of what makes Star Trek in a lot of different episodes.
And every time they run into the Packlets.
Yes.
The phasers fire.
It's red alarm.
Yeah, red alarm. I'm hungry.
We tested your explosive device out, but then it broke. You can only use it once.
It was a bomb. that was a great joke. It reminds me of the old Looney Tunes Daffy Duck trick you can only do once. I remember that one. That was one of my favorite ones from Looney Tunes.
Yes. I also really enjoyed tonight the whole pottery scene with Shax and Rutherford and Boyd.
Oh, that was amazing.
Did you
learn how to do that on Bajor?
Don't mention Bajor?
Did we not talk about Bajor? Or he's just like waiting for the next Shax thing. Like he was just like, what is it this time? Like.
He's like the never-ending bonfire of rage, and you'll bury it into the clay.
Get in there, you little rage, you. It's like Rutherford. Oh, yeah, that was pretty fun. Oh, yeah, Papa Bear, put it in the clay. Put it in the clay. I love their relationship. Shax and Rutherford are really getting a lot of kind of relationship time.
I love how he's holding him back. He's got them two broken potters.
Oh, that was another great Shax line for sure.
You think you can?
I had time to do anything but resist?
Yeah,
fighting fascism is a full-time job.
He has so much like Kira in him. Like whenever Kira would just get pissed off, like you just get a lot of those Kira.
Season 1 Kira.
Yeah, season 1 Kira amplified to 11.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Okay. Also, with the Klingon captain and his protege, this whole storyline was also really good in this episode tonight too.
Oh yeah. He calls it right away. He's like, I could be captain. It just makes logical sense.
That's right, but like, and they do all the tropes with the Klingons too, like where like the captain literally walks in the room and like a knife comes at him and misses him, and then he's like, it's on, and then he like stabs the one guy or whatever. And that's like kind of like very much what the Klingons do. It's just like killing each other for pointless reasons.
And the classic Klingon line, "Get that thing off my bridge. I don't want to smell its stench." As soon as I kill somebody, they're always like, "Get this stinking thing out of here."
It just takes like forever like to actually pull the body off, like which they never show you in like any other actual show because there's
gotta have a Klingon bird of prey as well. Yep,
bird of prey. So you got all the shit. Do you have a Cerritos?
No, they haven't made one of those. Not in this.
One of those.
Not in these.
Okay.
But yeah, I liked that Klingon storyline. And I liked the joke about the red and sort of pink blood.
Yes. Because they definitely show that the Klingon blood is a different color, like it used to be in the movies, which I always thought they should.
In Undiscovered Country, it was like that purple color.
Yeah, and they should have kept it like that. I thought I was like, there was no like.
Yeah, they didn't seem to, right? Because Worf always bleeds red.
Right, and I think it was just because money or something. They didn't want to have to do it, but It's easier to do green blood, I suppose, for Romulan. But I don't know. I always thought it was really good. I think they should keep it. Maybe that's the one thing I agree with Dave about canon here with the lower decks. Okay.
Oh,
I also,
Dave, or
Yep.
oh, Jeff, I should say.
Yes.
You're not Dave.
Nope.
Get over here.
I'm not Dave.
You could change places with him right now, and you would be on vacation.
Oh yeah, Saturday.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Will you be my bridge buddy?
I could be your bridge buddy.
All right, great.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk
I'm the
about.
lower decks of this podcast right now. So
Oh, right. Well, yes, that's true. You're gonna will you climb El Capitan with me?
Oh, I'm having captain time.
You're having Captain.
No. She says I'm with the captain. I'm with the captain today.
Yeah. So the whole thing with Boimler in this episode is that he's trying very hard to fit in with the upper crews, kind of like you're saying here, Davan, with us here, but no need here over at the Lago Podcast. You are already fitting in seamlessly, and but Boimler has those insecurities here about just getting ahead, and he's trying to find whatever bridge crew member he can kind of bond with. So yeah, we get the scene here with
Kayshawn.
Yeah, with
that's all they had left. Like they had them all claimed pretty much except for Kayshawn.
Yes, exactly. But we do the Tiana is doing El Capitan. We have Mariner and Freeman are doing the game in the holodeck, which I believe, isn't this the same game that Janeway played with Seven all the time?
Velocity, is it?
No, is that what it's called? Something like that. Yeah, I think that's the game they're playing, which is a lot of fun. And then, am I missing one of the tropes with Boimler? Does he try to? Yeah, I guess the pottery with Shax that doesn't go well. And then he ends up going into the turbo lift, and then Ransom's in there.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
With a few other characters, yeah, and it's all about going to hang out in Hawaii because that's where Ransom claims to be from, but he's not.
You're from Hawaii too?
Yeah. And it just
so you miss the islands, right? If you're from Hawaii, you miss the islands.
This is a great commentary, Davan, on like
Jaemeel says, "Add me."
Oh, there he is. I didn't see him.
Yes.
How long have you been
Hey, Jaemeel.
Not too long, but longer than you think.
Okay. I didn't notice you.
It will be a great honor to talk about this episode with you all.
Yeah.
Not the greatest honor, but a great honor nonetheless.
Jaemeel,
not
calm
dying
down.
a glorious death, glorious, but
Jaemeel, calm down. You're not acting logically.
yeah, you're out of control, Jaemeel.
Out of control. Jaemeel, first thoughts
Take
on
2
this
days
episode.
and meditate.
Meditate
for 2 days. Get yourself together.
Jaemeel, what did you think of this episode? Like, what stands out for you?
I am not bearing the lead. This is my favorite episode. This is getting a 10 from me.
Okay.
By far.
It's a great episode.
It is an excellent episode. It hits all of the quadrants that I'm looking for. It is a great story about many of the characters on the episode. It expands the lore of Star Trek in general, and also it is a fantastic story that is a combination of a lot of the plot points we've seen throughout the season. This is a great episode. I don't care.
It is a great episode. I really enjoyed it because I think they really balanced a whole bunch of different storylines very, very well in this episode. It wasn't just one, like A storyline, one B storyline. It was kind of all one A storyline, and they just kind of balanced them, juggled those very well, which Star Trek doesn't usually always do. But when they do it, it's a good episode. Here, okay, we were just talking, Jaemeel, a little bit about
Hawaii.
Hawaii and Boimler trying to fit in with Ransom. And I mean, I'm sure you work in an office setting. I'm sure you see this all the time where people suck up to superiors and lie about who they are or what they're into just to seem like they're getting ahead, but it never really quite works out that way. Now, does it?
You have a Simpsons sticker on your computer? Oh, wow. I watched The Simpsons too. Remember that time when Homer went to Moe's and had a drink and there was that flaming Moe's episode?
Right.
That was a good one. You see it all the time.
Yeah. It's a common trope. I feel like this show really speaks to people that work in offices almost more than anything. It just in that sort of idea of labor and economics, and kind of speaks to how people can be fake and get punished for the wrong things, like we have here with this new Vulcan character, Jaemeel. What was her name again, Davan? T'Lyn. She is getting chastised for not embracing her religion enough, working while when it's not logical the way she's kind of a workaholic, and it is kind of overstepping her bounds. I guess, and everyone else looks at her in almost a jealous way, but also I think contemptive way. What are your impressions of T'Lyn?
She's a hotshot maverick in Vulcan culture, more or less, and they all see it. We've seen this trope so many times where everyone is more clear cut and not necessarily superior, but superior in terms of playing by the rules. Like Iceman was the better pure flyer than Maverick, but Maverick was who he was, and his ability to kind of buck the norm was his greatest asset, which he leaned into, right? So at the end, you saw the value of Maverick in Top Gun, right? But this story doesn't necessarily follow the Top Gun storyline to a T, and we obviously see T'Lyn be shipped off to another ship. So I assume we're going to see more of her.
Yeah.
Is she going to join the Ritos? If what we're calling it now, the Ritos.
I like that T-shirt.
That's making fun of everybody that wears those disco shirts.
Yes,
Ritos.
It's like it's not disco. Disco. You want to go disco?
Disco American, yes. Let's go. Disco music.
Disco music. What? Okay, I stoop your mother 2 more times and then we go disco.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so we also have the Klingon storyline here, Jaemeel, which is really good with everything that's going on with Kayshawn and the older Klingon captain. Do you like this dynamic that the Klingons, they kind of go into all the tropes of the captain must fight and kill someone to prove he's worthy to lead these men, and then he is reckless and Kayshawn has to like take matters into his own hands, and then he has to kill the captain, and then he takes over, and everything that goes on with the Klingons here. What did you make of that?
When you think of Klingon culture, a captain is a captain not just because he is strong and powerful, but he also commands the respect of his crew, which is necessary in any type of military structure itself. So in some respects, the Klingon hierarchy kind of ensures that you have at least competent leadership, unless they're like the Duras family and a bunch of cunning,
Romulan lovers.
Yeah, Romulan lovers who are more deceitful. And you can kind of see the captain in this case kind of dip his toes in that type of manipulation and non-Klingon actions and procedures of empowering the Pakleds, which, if you think about it, Captain Tog wasn't that good of a leader if his first officer was doing all of this under his nose. I have to say that things turned out for the better. But Boimler's not going to be able to fight Captain Freeman and become captain of the starship. So there's a lot of more work. Season 3.
Yep.
I kind of wish that they had like the work study that they did with Star Trek, where TNG, where Riker was on the Klingon ship and the Klingon first officer was on Enterprise.
That was a good one.
Maybe we could see something like that, but Talil being gone is unfortunate.
Yeah, I
I
really
thought he was
enjoyed.
going to show up at the end. I was so surprised. So
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I also really enjoyed this Klingon captain that gets killed here in this episode. I thought he was really funny. A lot of his jokes, especially with the pack leads, which we could talk about quick here.
Who voiced him? He sounded familiar.
He sounded like Shona from The Last Dragon.
So the guy who was doing the Klingon captain,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was a guy named Robin Downs,
Oh, okay.
I believe. Well, what was the Klingon's name? Did he have a name tonight?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they said it.
Because Kayshawn was the younger guy, but
No, Kayshawn's the guy on the Cerritos, the Marion guy.
Vendome? Who was Vendome? That was a pack lead, right? We have a pack lead voice actor here named Rich Fulcher. He does the main pack lead. But a lot of the voice. Oh, Mock. John Curry. John Curry did the voice. That's who did it. So, and he is from Avatar, Independence Day.
Like he dropped a little Battle of Roctakel Brat.
Ooh.
Classic.
Yeah, he's a relatively unknown guy. I think he works in the music departments and stuff, and a whole bunch of different things. So, and then we have Colton Dunn did the captain. Sorry, tonight, Captain Dorg.
Oh.
That was his name.
I'm looking up Robert Downs, and this dude he loves playing a bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Colton Dunn, who plays the captain of the Klingons, he is known for Key and Peele.
Okay.
Ooh.
So that makes sense.
It makes sense that he would invoke Shonuff for sure.
Yeah. So we have a lot of so I really enjoyed it, especially when he first goes onto the Packlet ship and the Packlet guy's just like, "Welcome, I am Packlet. Welcome to the ship, Packlet."
The ship Packlet, yeah.
And he's just like dealing with complete idiots, which happens a lot on Star Trek, where it's just like these two species do not speak the same language whatsoever, and it's like, we tested out your bomb. And it's like, you can't, and it didn't work after that. And you say, why does it work after you? It's a bomb. You can't test it.
Which that bomb being used was what caused the readings that the Vulcan ship was picking up, which led for them to actually show up. So if it wasn't for their stupidity, they might have succeeded in the day.
Yes,
classic.
One Peruvian bomb is enough.
Yes.
Davan, with this whole Pack-led Klingon relationship, do you hope we get more of this in the future?
The Pack-led Klingon relationship. Well, if it takes that relationship to keep the Pack-leds like a viable threat to the Federation, then I'm all for it, because I like having them show up every now and then. They're usually pretty funny, and it's just a different foil for the main ship. It's not always Klingons and Romulans.
Yeah, well, it is
world
funny
building. There's a lot of world building in this episode.
Yes,
they can do a lot in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and they haven't really done a lot of this since the start of the show. This episode really stands out as far as, like, for me, the show kind of finding its legs. And I think you're right, Jaemeel. Like, the first season's usually a write-off of how a show needs to kind of find its legs, especially when it comes to Star Trek. Like, they just need they need just to get through it. And, like, you'll have some laughs along the way, but you just have to trust that, like, this show's going to find its legs. And I think it really is starting to get there.
Yeah. I think that any Star Trek show should have a mandate saying, we need a 2-season order. I'm sorry. But we gotta well, you would want for 7, but at least 2 air on your major network stating, this is the reason why. It takes a while. Any show, if you watch any show, it doesn't matter. First season is a lot of world building and a lot of figuring out exactly who these characters are, the writers are learning about these characters just as quickly as the audience is. And once they have that established, they can actually start going forward and providing great storylines. I don't care what show it is, every show, right, needs time to find its legs and then hit its stride. Right? Not every show is 100 out of the gates.
Unless
No,
you're
that's true.
Battlestar Galactica.
There is one show that I believe a commenter.
I gotta disagree with the movie.
There is a show, a commenter that we have here. It's Sam. He says, "I got a good name for your guys Gilligan Island podcast when we get around to it." He says, "Sit back, relax, and grab a coconut podcast." I think once Dave gets back,
You're not gonna call it Hawaii?
Hawaii, or
Hawaii?
I think once Dave gets back, guys, there might be some negotiations for a new TED Trek to maybe look at Gilligan's Island. That my dad, I think, would be very into such a thing. So I think that should be the next thing.
I would only join for the Harlem Globetrotter episodes.
Right.
Did they end up on the island?
Yes, they did. There was actually going to be a spin-off. Harlem Globetrotters.
Did the Washington Generals like land on the other side of the island or something?
Did the Washington Generals foil their plans to leave the island?
Yeah.
They built
the
this
Generals
awesome...
finally win. The Generals finally win.
Well, Sam, we'll let Dave know, which is our podfather, right? Concerning the Super Mater Brothers and Live Long and Podcast things, and there's ongoing negotiations regarding the Gilligan's Islands things. I think crossing some D's and dotted some I's.
I think he's the admiral of the podcasting network here, Jaemeel. He's drunk with power when he has it. He doesn't have it. He's planning a coup, like in Paradise Lost that we covered over on Live Long and Podcast with Deep Space Nine at 9ish. We did on Tuesday. Watch that.
I remember Dave when he was just a mere red squatter.
Oh, he was so proud at committing treason. Yeah.
Awesome.
No, but the ultimate Harlem Globetrotters line was from Krusty the Clown. I thought the Generals were due, and he bet like all his money on the Generals.
Sam also says there's also a movie called Rescue from Gilligan. I think it's
Gilligan's Island.
Did they get rescued?
Well, didn't they?
I don't remember. I don't know. I didn't really watch too much.
Yeah, it was way before my time. My dad loves that show, though. I've heard a lot about it.
My favorite Gilligan's Island throwback joke was in, I think, Frankie Avalon and Annette Felicetto's Return to the Beach movie, which I think happened in the early 90s, late 80s. And Gilligan from Gilligan's Islands appeared in a cameo, and some PYT was hitting on him, and they were going to hook up, and then the skipper came and said, "We got one more job to do. Meet me in the boat. It's only going to take 3 hours." And he's like, "You always say it takes 3 hours." And that was it.
That's about right.
Yep.
With Gilligan's Island, it's they made a lot of those episodes. This was like the number one show for a long time. Gilligan's Island.
There was a lot of number one shows, and the reason why was because there were 8 channels. So
Yes.
once you hit it and you have success for a period of time for 6 years, that is big business in comparison to now, where you have a Squid Game that is in the zeitgeist for maybe 2-3 months, and that's considered a smashing success.
Yeah, and now it's if you get 1,000 people to watch your show, it's you're doing something right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a complete reverse now. Jeremy chiming, he says he hope he doesn't miss he didn't miss much. No, we're just getting started here over on Lower Decks Are Us.
We've barely begun.
We've barely begun. And we can't explode that bomb twice. Okay.
So may I ask, would you prefer to see more of an episode like this, or is it a one and done where you don't want to kind of ruin this gimmick. It was great for an episode, but if they do it too soon, then might be a waste.
I wouldn't overdo it.
Okay.
See,
Yeah.
I kind of have the opposite opinion. I think they should do this more. I think we get tired of the 4 characters of Rutherford, Tendi, Mariner, and Boimler.
Okay.
For me, it's like I would rather them make world build, give us more a chance to look at other characters throughout episodes whenever they want. Where so that for me, I actually really enjoy this. I think they should do this more because I think it gets stale a little bit showing the Federation ship over and over.
What you would like to see what the dynamics are with the Klingon bird of prey now that a lower decker is now the captain. What is the relationship between the new captain and the lower deckers? Now, is he telling them to clean out the barrel, for worms and refill my cup of blood wine? Walk my dog.
This episode will be a lot better if this all pays off too. Like Talin shows up on the Redos, and they come into contact with this Klingon crew again. Be nice if it just all comes back.
So not necessarily do an episode where we split it between 3 different narratives, but if the characters that were introduced in this episode come back and interact maybe in separate episodes, then I will agree. I will agree. I don't necessarily want to see an episode like this if this gimmick, and I will say it's a gimmick, is overused, then that's more of a testament that they had lightning in a bottle, and that was the only thing they had. They found their gimmick and they just reused it over and over. It needs to be sparingly used so it seems more special. Like in 2 seasons we get another one of these and it's totally different, or they do a spin on it, that would be I would say that's interesting. If Q showed up in every episode, we would hate Q. So Q is the lamest character, right? Make him special.
I understand what you guys are saying. For me, I kind of just appreciate that they're willing to world build a little bit more, because I do find that with Star Trek, they do need to do that a lot of the times. Because I mean, how much we know way more about the Federation just in general than any other thing, and sometimes I'm like, I just want to learn a little bit more about the alien cultures. This is Star Trek, and we only ever see it from the Federation perspective. This show is allowing us to see things more from another alien culture's perspective, which I enjoy. Davan, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm convinced. I've thought that several times myself. It's always enjoyable, those nuggets that we do get from these other cultures and things. Like in DS9, for example, you get a lot of that with like Cardassians and Ferengi, and it's nice to like get these insights into these other cultures.
Yeah.
And now how best to do that is I guess the question.
So if you got more
world building is never bad.
Yeah, if you got one-off episodes where Boimler is doing a work study on a different ship, and we don't get it from Boimler's point of view, but we get it from the person on the ship that he's studying from's point of view. I think that would be interesting and kind of fulfill one that Boimler is still technically the main character, but he's not the POV that we are following. Yet at the same time, we're getting a non-Federation perspective on what's occurring.
Which is exactly what I think they're doing. They're setting up in this episode, Jaemeel. I think they're doing that they're going to have episodes with Talin. They're going to have episodes with, is his name Kocher, or I forget his name? 1 sec. It is, Kayshawn. Sorry. No, it's, what's the younger Mock? Is that his name? Or what? I don't know. Mock. Yeah. The younger Klingon guy. I think they're going to have an episode with him. I think they're going to do a lot more pack-led stuff. I think like all this kind of world building, and like, yes, they can use the Cerritos characters and pop them in there. But I love that's why I love the Vulcan stuff so much tonight, guys, because we got to see a story from like her point of view that was, yes, connected to our general story, but it really gives insight into like what the Vulcans are like. there's that ship that exactly like that. Is that
I love
just
those warp rings that they have in these Vulcan ships. I've always loved the design of the Vulcan ships.
Yeah, they're very cool. I think they might have the most unique looking ship of all of them. Okay. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay.
Always good when that happens.
Yeah, always good. Let's talk a little bit about the Vulcans here, because I think some of the jokes that they pull in here are fantastic. Like, she's literally just working hard a lot of the time. They're like, calm down. Like, like, you are overreacting. And it's just like, she's like, well, I reprogrammed this to do it even better. And they're like, but that's not logical. Like, and all the stuff that they're doing, they're saying to her. And
go to your room and meditate. It's like, no, I'm almost done my work. She's like, you're acting like a child.
Yes.
A lot of fun on those lower decks in the Vulcan ships.
Yeah, they seem to really laugh it up. There's no Hawaiian Mai Tais being enjoyed, though. Right?
None.
Okay. And the Klingon ship is all about...
I found coffee and pineapples.
So Talin is played by Gabio Ruiz.
Right.
Who is, if she becomes a main character on the show, I will be extremely happy, because I am a big fan of her from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. She is a talented actress, and I'm so happy. Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end. Thank you. Thank you.
She was so good. She was so good. I thought she was actually voiced originally throughout this episode. I said to Davan earlier, Jaemeel, that I thought it was the Tawny Newsome, the one that does Mariner. But like, because they are very similar in not only their character, but their voice, I found, was very similar as well in the way they sounded as the character. Do you think that's intentional, that they are trying to make her seem a lot like Mariner?
Like as an alpha? Yeah.
And like a renegade a little bit in her culture. Like even like Mariner is very much like a renegade. And I think in this Vulcan scenario, Talin is definitely coming across to them anyway, to the other Vulcans as a renegade.
Out of control.
Needs to be
your child. Oh my gosh. I'm just
can we appreciate the callback to the mountain climbing rocket boots?
Yes, from Star Trek The Final Frontier, which Spock was using. In this episode we have Boimler doing it, and I love it.
T-shirt.
And the T-shirt, you go climb a rock, it says on his shirt. Well, he's trying to fit in here with Tiana and Tendi. They're smart though. They're climbing. They're not free soloing it like Alex Honnold did, and Captain Kirk, which made no sense, by the way. Captain Kirk and his body type that Shatner had in 1988 or whatever it was never going to be able to free solo El Capitan. It was the most ridiculous scene for that reason alone. But here they're using ropes because they're not they're on a holodeck, like you know what I mean, and they could be free soloing it and get away with it because they turn the safety parameters on and they'll be fine. But no, they're being smart.
But who knows if it's actually on or not?
We have a comment here. Vulcans would find Mariner irritating, I'm sure. Yes, no, I don't think they would like her. It's funny that we don't have a Vulcan character here on the Ritos, as it were.
We will now.
I think we will now. I think Talin will be joining.
So
lower decks need to shake up.
Ritos is going to be a thing.
Oh, Ritos. Yep.
It's like Voy. It's like Voy.
It's like disco.
And Voy.
Really saves time.
Yeah, it saves time.
It's true because Voyager. I mean, 3 syllables. It's a lot.
Sir Ritos, what's the point? Did we knight the Ritos? Like, Sir Ritos, come on.
Yeah. So just a heads up. Today, I introduced this to Jeff yesterday, I should say. And the company that makes the Lower Decks series, Titmouse, amazing animation company that's done shows like Venture Brothers, most notably, rest in peace, Black Dynamite. They're a wonderful animation studio. So one thing that they do with shows that they perfect timing. One thing that they do is each episode they release a T-shirt that's dedicated to the episode and kind of is like an inner reference to it. So the episode for today's episode, just the shirt for this episode, has just been released, which is called Three Ships, and you see the size diagrams of the of three different ships, and I think it is the Bird of Prey, the Vulcan ship, and the Pakled ship.
Yep.
How is it not the Rito shirt?
Well, because I know, right? You know what? Honestly,
they'll make that anyway.
CBS is making that anyways, so they just like that's. It was either going to be that or go climb a rock. So I think they went with the design. I would strongly suggest any fans to go back and pick up these shirts if they have a chance before they sell out. They make a limited amount in a variety of sizes from our more demure Star Trek fans to our more hefty ones, I will say. So there are sizes available, so go check it out. My favorite is, and I already showed it to Jeff, which is just one row below to the far end right.
Yes, sorry, this one?
Yes.
The pink one?
Yes.
Yeah, that one is pretty cool.
All right. You can click on and kind of see exactly what it's talking about. It's with Boimler, and I think it's a fantastic design. And the two Boimlers on a ship. I think it's a wonderful shirt. You don't really get that many good pastel pink shirts. I'm representing with the one I already have currently in my wardrobe, and I think that you all should add this one to it as well.
Is that Bradward and William?
Yes.
Yeah, only $20, so not too bad.
Yes,
pretty affordable. And they all look cool because they're all different colors. Not all like a white T-shirt. They look like good shirts, and so I think check that out, guys. If you're looking for some cool geek gear.
Yep, just type in Titmouse. Don't worry, it won't set off any parental filters. You'll be good.
Yeah, titmousestuff.com.
Yes.
So check that out. Thank you, Jaemeel. Okay, so back to the episode. We let's talk a little bit about Shax trying to find some peace here tonight, Jaemeel and Davan. I was talking to Davan about it earlier, but we'll ask you, Jaemeel. You don't bring up Bajor in front of Shax when he's doing pottery. That's what I learned tonight. You just don't.
You don't, and it makes sense. But it makes sense, perfect sense for him to still have, PTSD about his time in Bajor fighting with the Resistance, right? He's kind of separated himself from that, yet it's still a big part of his past that he's still dealing with. And maybe we do get a Rutherford Shax episode where they go to Bajor and he meets the prophets. That'd be a great episode.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Like all this world building right then and there, like this little scene could pay off in a separate individual episode.
Absolutely. I think you guys know I love Shax. He's my favorite character on this show. Every time he's on screen, my face lights up. He looks to be making just a giant penis at the beginning. I don't know what he's doing. He's very focused on it, though.
Focusing rage.
So you're saying he wants to beat that phallic symbol?
I think, yeah.
It was the height of his rage.
it's even that, or he's trying to make
so much taller than everyone else's.
I love the way they shoot it too. When Boimler runs out of the room, once he breaks the pottery and he like threatens Boimler, they like they do the Dutch angle thing and they turn the camera. I don't know. I thought it really worked.
Great. It's great.
And then we go to the Klingon ship where the Klingons are eating and feasting like they always do, and a Targ is trying to grab, like, I don't even know what it is. It looks like a sock or something, like a sandbag. And yeah, we have the whole Klingon scene here where it looks like they're eating octopus, which I thought was interesting. What's going on with that, guys?
Which seems it makes sense in terms of their dietary preferences, right? That they would go and hunt a squid, and eat it, or still alive, a meal that fights them. Just imagine a meal that would fight them.
Yeah, baby Kraken.
That sounds about right.
It looks like the food that they ate in an early TNG episode. There were 2 Klingons on the ship, and I think one of the things was called privets or something like that. But yeah, it looked like that.
They like things that are alive too. You're right, and I love they have a line in this episode. It's like, don't even talk about gawk. This is no time for that.
Where's the gawk spaghetti? This is what I'm concerned with. Why has there not been commercialized Star Trek gawk spaghetti?
Not shopping at the right store.
The Bird of Prey only has a crew of 12. How lower decks can you be? I guess everyone is a lower decker except the captain on the Bird of Prey.
Well, captain, first officer,
and the first officer. Yeah, I guess you're right. And then everyone else is just there to
there's the fat senior officer who's past his prime, gets drunk and talks of glories long past.
And they literally have that in this episode. Like they're very smart with this show. They know all the tropes that Star Trek always pulls out. They always have like the younger guy that is trying to do the Klingon way, but then revolts but it works out. They have that trope as well in this episode.
That fight scene was very impressive. One thing I always worry about with very hand-to-hand combat fight sequences is, am I following the action? Does it logically make sense? Does it jump from like they're fighting one place and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're fighting in a different place? It doesn't have like a smooth transition. Transitions in this episode, fantastic. It was great. Everything made sense.
Yeah, I agree. Also, did you notice that the older Klingon guy, he was kind of like their Shax. He had a discolored eye and a scar over his eye. He was pretty much the Shax of the Bird of Prey.
Yes.
Which I don't
talk to me about glorious past. He takes out his he takes out his weapon and goes to stab him. Love it.
And then he falls asleep on top of him. And the Targ starts licking his face, which is pretty funny. There's some good gags here with the Klingons for sure.
I like how he the lower decker took care of the Targ, and that's why the Targ came to his aid.
Yes.
Right? So it made sense. Yeah.
Okay, so then we go to Lynn and to Lynn's doing she's doing work while she's supposed to be meditating. All the other Vulcans are annoyed. You can see it in their closed eyes.
And that other Vulcan, they just like, that sounds like an insult.
Just the banter between them is just so.
It was good.
It's passive aggressive that it's perfection.
Yes, it's like you seem uncontrolled. She's like, I hope they notice. So you're right. It's also passive aggressive and is basically exactly what the Vulcans are. It's like containing your emotions, holding them in, but unleashing it in like a really unhealthy way in a lot of ways.
I'd like to see her again too. Actually, send them both to the Cerritos.
Yes, yes, please. Yeah.
I think we might even see the Klingon younger character maybe not come to the Cerritos, but definitely have interactions with the ship, in the near future.
Yeah, and it's not like the Klingon himself was a fool or he had a head on him and understood what needed to be done. So even though he was very ambitious, was going along with everything, he voiced his displeasure and knew better, and was being a good first officer, respectfully, you know, providing counsel to his captain, not trying to dishonor him ever in front of his other crew members, until, the captain was bringing dishonor to the entire crew themselves, and he had to stand up.
It kind of reminds me of what we talked about over on Deep Space Nine at Nine-ish, Davan, with the breakdown, the Homefront and Paradise Lost episodes, where we have a former first officer dealing with his old senior officer, and the whole lesson that he was trying to teach him, where it's like you voice your displeasure in private, but then when the time comes to follow orders, you do so. And Sisko doesn't buy that. He says, no, it's about, you still have to assess what's right and what's wrong when you're in command. And we see that tonight with the Klingons. What do you think about that comparison?
Yeah, good comparison. I could see Mock as a Sisko type figure.
Yes, Mock is a bit of a Sisko type figure, I think, in the Klingon trope of things. Okay, so then we get the whole Pac-Led moment here, where so the Klingons beam over the captain and Mock.
Red alarm.
Red alarm. Red alarm. Welcome to Pac-Led. They have a very cool looking ship, the Pac-Leds, too, guys. I actually really enjoyed the way their ship looked.
Klingon enhancements.
Yeah.
And we got all the jokes about the bombs and testing bombs and how stupid that is. And then so the Cerritos shows up, and they start getting fired upon. And I get this great moment where all these people are coming from their shore leave with it on the ship or whatever. Like the people that were playing with like the well, I don't know what they're even called, the kind of the long sticks with the cushioned ends on them.
Oh, the the Q-tips.
We get Shaq.
The Anbo-jitsu.
Anbo-jitsu, yes. And we get Shaq showing up with his pottery gear on. We get Boimler and Ransom. They get stuck. Their whole Hawaii vacation gets screwed up. I mean,
buddies.
Yeah. The Victorian crew, the crew in Victoria wear, the helmsman who seemingly was on some kind of snowy retreat, because she was wearing like winter clothing. It's like, how many holodecks do they have in this ship? Seems like a lot.
It does seem like a lot. You're right. Like usually, I felt like on like the Enterprise D, they only had like the one big one, and you know what I mean. Like, I don't remember, I'm wrong. Maybe they had two, but even then, the Cerritos seems to have a lot. But this is a little bit more in the future, so maybe they built them in back then. I don't know.
Wouldn't you like
miniaturized?
Yeah, like if let's say we're talking about it post Voyager. Wouldn't there be a holographic emitter in almost every single room, per se? So they can expand upon it, but it would be a huge power drain.
Right. Like, but I could see like the Doctor trying to figure out a way when he came back to make sure that wherever he went, he could exist other than his holo emitter. All Doctors, all EMHs, equality for all the EMHs. I could see that definitely being a thing.
Well, from an emergency standpoint, if like holo emitters would be not necessarily a system that you'd want to dedicate power to, as opposed to the shields or life support. So having a portable emitter that the Doctor had would make more sense in an emergency, that you can just pop that onto your local EMH, right? Let's say your Doctor died, and it's like, okay, we need this EMH to be able to go down to the surface, or
that's future technology, though, Jaemeel. They'd have to break the temporal prime directive to make those mass produce those.
That surely could not be canon.
Dave is just itching somewhere. He's like, what's that?
It's the word Mexico just going. He's like the Klingon captain tonight. We have a comment here. Eating live octopus can be dangerous. Sometimes they attach themselves to the inside of your airway with their suckers. People die. Yeah, that sounds like Klingons would like that.
Klingon, yeah.
Yeah.
You did not properly kill your squid in your mouth.
Yeah, that was a glorious.
You wait for it to try and kill you, and then you swallow it.
Yes.
So I like that.
Glory.
Yeah, so then the Cerritos shows up, and the Pakled ship and the Klingon ship start firing upon it. We quickly find out that the Cerritos is not a very good warship.
Not at all.
It's not a very good ship at all. It's California class. Nobody even knows they exist. And this was, to me, Lower Decks is starting to step their game up. This battle scene tonight was fantastic. I think it looked a lot better than even some Deep Space Nine battle scenes from back in the day. Like, it looked really good. The animation was really pretty to watch. Davan, did you kind of feel that way with the way they showed the animation?
And the torpedoes sounded so good every time that Cerritos launched a torpedo. Pew! Oh, it's perfect.
Okay, I have one complaint, which is, and I think Star Trek fighting in general has this issue, and they show it sometimes, but not consistently. It's that sometimes the ship just stands still and shoots, and then it's like, oh, maneuvers now, evasive maneuvers. There should be constant movement, right?
You would think there would be, yeah.
Right. Regardless, and yes, the Defiant does showcase that a lot more often because it's supposed to be a more maneuverable, nubile ship, but at the same time, you can't just stand there like you're not a tank. You can't just stand there and just get shot upon. You're just like, I'm just going to stand in the middle, just shoot everyone. That makes no sense. There should always be a sense of movement, even when it isn't like extreme maneuvers type of scenario.
I feel like they're going to make a joke at that on the show at some point, like the evasive maneuvers. We were evading. No, we weren't. Actually, we need to move or something like that. They're going to do something like that. But it's true, Jaemeel. Like, if you play like Star Trek Online, like, you're always moving. You can sit still, but you'll get killed within seconds.
It's a nonsensical approach to fighting, unless you're a tank. And the only Star Trek tank I can think of is we don't talk about Into Darkness.
Oh, well, that's not even
a Borg cube.
Or a Borg cube. A Borg cube is a tank.
Right. A Borg, yeah, exactly. A Borg cube makes sense. The Into Darkness ship was,
was just a bigger starship.
Yeah, but not canon in my book. Makes no sense to the whole reality of what's going on with Star Trek ships in general. I would say I don't think we mentioned it to you. I don't think you're here yet, but I was saying to Davan, Jaemeel, especially the battle scene, like the fight scene here between the Klingon captain and first officer, reminded me a lot of What If, and the animation style that we get on What If. Did you feel that way? Did you feel a lot of Marvel vibes from tonight's episode?
Well, Marvel, and so I think that we have to understand that in terms of North American animation, when it comes to designing fight sequences, it's going to be cribbed off of something else, right? So you see a lot of the similar, same movements, like the concealed sword into an extended lunge is something that is repeated ad nauseum. You could probably find 200 examples. I have one in my head alone, but that is from that's from anime per se, and is old enough that it could have been a reference that was used. If anyone has seen Revolutionary Girl Utena, the movie, which most likely no one has, they have an exact sequence in terms of the concealed weapon going into a lunge facing the camera. But it's probably, a lot of sequences, you can probably go back to, Robin Hood, the old, sword swashbuckling film sequence. Like, yes, that movie is old as ass, but in terms of presenting action, It is clear. It tells this visual story that everyone can follow, and is a perfect example that animators can take and translate to any type of sequence. So I wouldn't be
Errol
surprised if
Flynn.
yeah, Errol Flynn. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back that distance. You go back and even you pause anything, and it's perfect in terms of showing body movement and telling a story. You know exactly where they are in the fight, who has the advantage, who has not. So that is my answer to that question. Even Marvel, when even
Yeah.
they're doing their choreography, it's based off of something else, most likely not
Yeah.
necessarily the comic book, but what is filmable, what can be used. And I go back to Robin Hood is like an underrated example of chemistry, choreography, and fighting being displayed all in one. Storytelling, I should say.
It also reminded me a little bit, especially when he stabs him, like that whole moment you talked about. It reminded me a lot of the Kill Bill Volume 1 stuff that was done with the animation in that movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just because it's, again, the Japanese influences, and they were obviously probably influenced by something as well when they made that. But yeah, it had a lot of that kind of those vibes for me. Davan, do you kind of see any of what Jaemeel's saying there about the Japanese animation influences, or are you into that kind of thing?
Well, I don't have too many anime references in my head I can grab. That's for sure. But I totally get the Robin Hood stuff you were throwing down.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Like literally,
And like
people should
those standard fight sequence tropes that we've seen
Yeah.
throughout movie history and stuff. There are, like you say, there's a handful of them, or a good amount, but
Yeah. Robin Hood is, people sleep on Robin Hood. Robin Hood is a great swashbuckling film that is underrated, and people should go back and look at it. It's a fantastic storytelling movie.
What year is that from? Which one are we talking? Like
Old
30s?
elf.
Like the 60s? Like, is that what we're talking about?
No, I think older. than that.
older, way
Even
older.
older. Wow.
Yeah, it's black and white.
Oh wow. Okay, I've never watched it. I have to check it out. Okay. All right. So the Klingon ship, ends up leaving here because after this fight scene, and so then we just get the Cerritos and the Vulcan ship just have their way with the Packlet ship, blow a whole wing off the ship as it floats away, and then the Packlet just run away, and then we have a great line from Shax. I have no idea what he says. He goes like "Pramadosa," he pounds his chest. I think he's speaking Bajoran, but I have no idea what he says.
Could hold on. Let me see if I can get it. It's 1938. Is Robin Hood?
Robin Hood.
Yep. And you keep talking. I will try my best to look it up right now.
Okay.
What he says.
So we get Captain Freeman trying to figure out why the Klingons left. They didn't really get it, and Shax is apparently completely normal when he's dealing with like logistical things. Like he just goes, like he's talking to Freeman. He's like, "It's strange how they just left." it's like it's just like it's so weird, like how his like demeanor will change when he actually has work to do, and then when he's not working, he's like a crazy person. I love his character so much.
So the subtitles say "unintelligible victory cry."
Oh, okay. Definitely Bajoran then.
Yeah.
Something they used to yell in the Resistance.
Don't talk about Bajor.
Okay, so then after that we get the scene here with T'Lyn where her captain says that he's reassigning her, and she just goes, "I think you're making an error," and they kind of have this back and forth here, like passive aggressiveness about hot-headed ways, and which is pretty funny. With I guess in the Vulcan sense, she is a backtalker. She's not compliant at all with what the Vulcans tell her to do, and I think she's going to fit in great on the Cerritos when she arrives. Guys, what do you guys think?
Yeah, she's like an ideal Starfleet officer.
I think Mariner's going to hate her. Right? Do we anticipate that Mariner is not going to like her at first, and then they're going to be like besties?
I think they're going to be they're going to compete. There's going to be a constant back and forth, which is great for her to have like someone to spar with, because it's been mostly Boimler, and Boimler is not that type of character. Right?
No,
Boimler will like hanging out with T'Lyn more than Mariner, and Mariner will get jealous again.
Yeah, or it'll be Mariner will be hanging out with T'Lyn, and Boimler will get jealous. There will be all sorts of different things they can do. I think I think they do need to add another character into their mix, because I think Tendy's like was supposed to kind of be that character, but Tendy's Tendy, and I think we're just gonna keep Tendy the way she is.
But of course you can't let Jet into the group.
No. Okay. So then that's kind of how it ends here with all right, so then he goes to the bar. Boimler goes to the bar, and then he's approached. He looks like Anthony Rapp, but he's not Anthony Rapp.
If his character's name was Mark, I would have appreciated it.
Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah, from Rent. And especially if he talked like Mark in Rent, his bohemian way.
And he had like a scarf.
And he got up on the bar and started dancing, and
La
that would have been funny if they had done something like that. That would have been great, but they didn't have time. And so then it goes to credits. He's just the duty officer, kind of looking up to Boimler, which Boimler is not used to. He's the one trying to always look up. So I think you just have to realize that throughout time, you become the more you get experience, and then people start looking up to you, and that's just how life works. And that's just something you have to accept. Which I think is a nice way to end this episode. Do you guys kind of get that same sentiment?
Yeah.
Mr. Boimler, sir? Yeah.
I think that we kind of see the relationship of Boimler and also Ransom as well. He found his buddy. He found his buddy. He might not realize it yet, but he actually has.
Yeah.
Okay, then we get the great gag here at the end of the episode, which I thought something was going to happen at some point, but no, it's just the Borgs, and they just go Lower Decks Borg Cube, and it's just
them staring at them all. I thought one of them was going to just open their eyes and then close them again, like a fake gag or something.
Nothing. They just completely are in what was it, regeneration, and it's kind of like I liked it, but I wish they had done some sort of a gag like that. Would have been fun. But that's it, I think, for this episode. Unless you guys have anything you feel I missed.
No. The name of the episode. Do you know what the name of the episode is?
Yeah, it's like Urge Dumb, but it's like actually, if you look at the credits at the beginning, it's actually in Klingon text.
Yep. And do you know what it means?
No. Mm-mm. What does it mean?
3 ships.
Oh, okay.
Which is why the title of the T-shirt is called 3 Ships.
Oh, makes sense. And Titmouse does the animation. I saw in the credits here at the end.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Okay, so that makes sense that they're doing their own shirts. I get, and that makes sense why they wouldn't do like a Rito shirt. They would rather use their animation.
Yeah, and plus, I'm gonna go to CBS.com store and see if they have a Rito shirt, because I bet you they have one.
They might have a Voy shirt now.
That'd be quick. That would be very quick.
They should be on top of their stuff, in my opinion. Let's see. CBS store.
You're right, though, Davan, about the Cerritos ship here, where the colors around it are definitely almost like rainbows.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty.
I like the ship. It's a good ship.
Yeah, definitely cool. I also like that they have the thing that connects the deflector that connects the nacelles, but it's lower. It's you don't usually see that on a ship in Star Trek.
So there is that I see so far, no Rito shirt.
Check again tomorrow.
Maybe they have a Choo Choo shirt from first season.
Choo Choo Party.
Yeah, they have a Tom Paris commemorative plate shirt, as well as commemorative plate sticker. They have the Acid Rock Klingon Acid Rock shirt as well. What else?
Doritos.
No Rito shirt yet.
We also
They have cardboard
You guys
cutout.
gonna get Rito shirts?
I think I might have to.
I have to, yeah.
I think
It's also this shirt.
I have
This
to
might
get
be a better shirt to get. It's a sweater.
Oh my gosh. I might get a choo choo shirt. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end with a choo choo shirt. Yeah. It's so weird, and I just like how they've just built this kind of their own world.
Yeah,
like
it's
it.
pretty great.
Yeah, definitely. Like any Star Trek show, you have to make your own. And at least, like, I think the most important thing with this show is that they're having fun. You know, like I think that was what was really lost for me on Enterprise, and a little bit at the end of Voyager. I think they lost like the fun of not just like the writing, but like just kind of like the actors. You could just tell like it seemed like they were going through the motions a lot with those two shows by the end. And I think that's kind of like when you go back and you watch the Deep Space Nine or the TNG or even the original series episodes, you see the fun they had, I think, when they made the show from almost all aspects. You know, the energy is positive and it shows in the work. And I think we're getting that here with Lower Decks as well.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we just have a few things to
So
plug
Phlox
here.
is fantastic in Enterprise. He brings the humor in.
Yes.
Yes, he's great. He's the one part of Enterprise where I go, "Where's more of this?" You know, the rest of them I think are a little. They have, with the exception of the Mirror Universe, I think that episode. With the exception of that, I think most of the time everything is taken too seriously on that show.
Way too seriously.
You know, and so that's kind of the problem for me, and Voyager too, in a lot of ways. You know, but Voyager at least has episodes or moments or characters that kind of fix that at certain points, and sometimes the writing is just too good, you can't ignore it. But overall, I think that this show. Akuchiboya. Yeah, see, they're unintentionally funny, Voyager.
Yes.
It's true.
Whereas this Lower Decks has really been smart, funny, great references, really knows what the show is not leaning into too much Family Guy, too much Simpsons, too much Futurama. They're not really leaning into one of those type of shows too much. They're kind of taking from everywhere, and also but staying true to Star Trek at the same time, which is really smart.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I think it's its own thing for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I think we need to plug some things here, guys. So we have here on Live Long Podcast, we have a variety of shows. Coming up on Mondays, we have Ted Trek. That's returning after a 2-week hiatus. I don't know what they're covering. I'm not on that show, but if you like the original series, they literally do a shuffle. They only have a few episodes left, so
I think three or so episodes left.
Yeah, and they're all doozies, so you know, stay tuned for those. Tuesdays, I host the very good show Deep Space Nine at 9ish. We are covering our next episode is all about Shakaar and Kira's love affair with Shakaar, and it is the episode entitled Crossfire. That's what we'll be covering on Tuesdays at 9.
Tell you about Shakaar, he makes you like Barial a lot more.
That's sad. That's really sad. About Shakaar was never a favorite character of mine. Kira's relationships, I was like, just get to Odo, please, just like, because that's when I think it actually makes sense. We have a comment here before. Paris and Jayway have baby lizards. Nearly never watched the show again. Yeah. Oh yeah. When they turned into lizards. Yeah. That's an infamous episode. They made fun of that on Lower Decks too, with in the Tom Paris episode. So, I mean, how could you not? Okay. And then on today we have Lower Decks. So join us next week for the next Lower Decks episode. I think it's the finale. So that'll be a big one for us guys. Oh, I won't be here, but you guys will be. Dave will be back. The Admiral in Chief. And then we also have another channel called Super Mater Bros Podcasting, which we stream over on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook, like we do here with Live Long and Podcast. But we cover Survivor. We did that yesterday. We also cover Marvel. We do different shows that we kind of pick everything that's non-Star Trek, basically. So we'll do Marvel What Ifs. We'll do The Serpent, Netflix shows, different things that come out that we fancy. We just cover, and that's kind of what we like to do over on Super Mario Bros. Podcasting. Nothing's set except Survivor right now. Big Brother is over, so we are waiting for the next season of that. So join us on Wednesdays for the Survivor, and just look out for us whenever we're covering anything Marvel, especially right now, because that's what we're doing. We also have Trivial Debates.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll do Trivial Debates. That's coming up, a very special Halloween episode.
Very exciting and spooky.
Very spooky. I think Dave's going to be hosting, but that is not set yet. So once we get Dave, I'm sure Dave will have the graphic ready next week, and we'll be plugging that. That sounds very exciting. I think you guys will all enjoy that. Then we also have this man's show, Davan, Locutors of Trek.
There you go.
Locutors of Trek.
Yes.
Davan, cybernetics.
What
Our cybernetics episode is up. We have a Garrick supplemental episode coming down the pipe here soon. A lot of things going up on YouTube here. We're going to have a writer's room segment that Jeff's going to take part in. Right. We got the Trouble with Trivia segment coming up. Some music from Dave and myself. Ooh. And lots of good stuff happening over at Locutors.
Locutors of Trek. Well, that sounds very exciting, Devin. I think everybody should give that a listen. I think if you like philosophical Star Trek conversations, do you like different formats of debates, trivia, Locutors of Trek is for you. We also have, guys, to plug on my nephew's podcast, Let's Talk About Fighting Games. That's a show where he just talks about video fighting games like Mortal Kombat, like Street Fighter, like all the old classics and the new ones as well. He's really into it, and his enthusiasm shows. So you can find all of these podcasts wherever you find your podcasts, and give those a listen, and give us subscribes to on this video and any other video that you watch of ours. It really, we really appreciate it, and I think that would really help us out. Anything else, guys? Hadouken. Anything else that you guys want to say before we sign off tonight?
Choo choo.
Choo choo. Okay.
Choo choo party.
I say you do not bring up Bajor. For all of us here at Live Long and Podcast, I have been your host, Jeff Not Logical Mater, joined by co-hosts to Davan and Jaemeel Robinson. We say goodbye.